support shows like yours and the shows that we have here.
That really is the answer. Just don't do what they say. They're not our bosses. They claim there's no First Amendment. There still is. And just start disobeying all these unlawful directives from the establishment. And there's no way they can lock us all up. I mean, I think we're reaching that critical mass. I think earlier you guys made that point that just, you know, they tell us what to do. We don't do it anymore. Just like the whole Trump chalking situation.
Yeah, when a few years ago it became fashionable to label us. You know, oh, he's a racist, he's a sexist, he's a homophobe, he's misogynistic. That ended the argument because the people were petrified of those labels. It would cost you your job, your reputation, or whatnot. Now people are starting to go, oh, really? Am I? Is that what I am today? And they'll continue to talk because it means nothing. It means nothing anymore. And I don't think there's that fear that they're holding over everybody's head anymore. And I see that, like I said earlier, as the light at the end of this long, dark tunnel of restriction and fear that we've had hanging over us, fear to express ourselves honestly, fear that we're going to lose our jobs and our reputation, and that's going to be on the internet and never go away. I mean, I had to literally build a facility to broadcast and be open and honest and say things I wanted to say without having that cloud over my head that I was going to be crucified for what I'm talking about. And that's how dedicated I am to not letting the people that have been in charge for the past decade or so get away with this. I want people to be able to speak openly and honestly without this retribution.
You're in a fight. You're in a fight for your life, for America's fight, you name it. You're not laying down. And we find when we stand up, the enemy starts to fall. Look at this article. Obama, world leaders are right to be rattled by Trump. I mean, the communist Chinese lecturing us about Donald Trump and saying he's Hitler when they've killed more people than anyone else in history. I mean, it's just all these other Saudi Arabia telling us who we can vote for, and then the president running around with Hillary, tattling to world leaders as if when Americans get bossed around, we're supposed to just bow down. And I mean, they really have miscalculated. They've gone too far.
They've gone too far, and people are aware of it, and they're fighting back, finally fighting back. You know, when people talk about Donald Trump and the awful things he's done, it's, oh, Donald told a beauty contest contestant she shouldn't eat so much candy. And people lose their minds. Like, this is the worst thing you could possibly do. And then you have Hillary, who was using her personal email account to send and receive some of the most top secret documents that someone in her position can get or send. And they just go, oh, this is garbage. It means nothing. It's the vast right-wing conspiracy again. They have nothing on Trump. They have things that he did as a goofy personality builder years ago. There's no secrets ready to jump out of his closet. We know about him. But Hillary, it's obvious she's a liar. She is pandering to get votes, which she has always done.
And now she's been caught lying repeatedly. Remember, she said there was not even a separate server or email before. She's been caught. She should be put in jail. And you know what? People think she's invincible. At a certain point, the establishment's going to turn on her as well.
Yeah, I think we're seeing that. We're already seeing that. You're not seeing. Where is all that support for Hillary from people? You don't really see anybody except her dopey-ass husband that she's trotting around. The poor guy, let him sleep. He looks exhausted. But that's all you're seeing as far as supporting Hillary. I think people are pulling away. They see this change coming and don't want to get into the wrong boat.
Now, Anthony, I want to shift gears for you because I mentioned this earlier when you were on, but I actually want to show the article for TV viewers and radio listeners. I'll describe it. It's in KXAN. It's in a bunch of other local news reports. And they are openly talking about Alamo Drafthouse, a national chain that's now grown all over the United States. And they say in their new theaters, they're going to just get rid of men and women's bathrooms altogether and then get rid of most of the toilets for women and make them bend over and use a urinal. I'm not kidding. And this is incredible. They're asking for feedback, and I'm going to go over this. But the reason I raised this is I brought it up with Gavin earlier. What do you think's behind it? Because I kind of ignored this for years because I just thought it sounded so stupid. But now I turn on TV, read a newspaper. It's like another world. All I hear about is these oppressed people, and so they need to be in the bathroom with me. And then now everyone, men and women, are going to go into a big, giant bathroom. It's one thing if you have individual bathrooms. So I mentioned this earlier, and then Leanne McAdoo's here, one of our reporters, and has the article. She got upset as a woman. I mean, she can't go to the movie theater now. I mean, who's going to do this? This is crazy town. What do you think is behind this?
I think, honestly, it's to take traditional values and throw them out the window. You're taking, look, gender is what it is. There are men and women. The second you try to eliminate that, you're trying to eliminate the basics of our society and what keeps us together as a society, what makes a traditional family. They hate what is traditional because it's what empowers the people. It's what made this country great, based on what the people in this country have done. The more you can break that traditionalism apart, the more you can kind of run your people.
Exactly. I mean, if you can say that someone being a man or woman is hurtful because someone else might not identify, that's saying my identity can't exist because of what you say you've invented. That is the most bigoted, anti-human, anti-liberal thing I could imagine. It's just so freakazoid, and they keep getting crazier by the month. I wonder what's coming next. I mean, here's KXAN Austin, and it's in all the articles. Alamo Drafthouse seeks feedback on gender-neutral bathroom. They say their new design will hopefully eliminate conflict. Yeah, to eliminate conflict. That's a little joke on us. It's meant for conflict. Then it goes on to say they're a type of urinal both men and women can use. It's new territory. And it's a huge nozzle. Leanne McAdoo, describe this for people. I mean, this is what this cult wants us to be under now.
Actually, I can't even...
We're going to turn your mic on, guys, or it's not fed to me. Go ahead. Go ahead, Leanne.
I can't even make out from the diagram exactly how they are expecting women to now just rearrange our anatomy in order to make this work, that women can now pee standing up. Like, how did this, all of a sudden, where does this come from?
The people are mental patients.
It's just, it's like overnight that they are trying to completely rewrite how science works. So when I have a baby someday and I ask the doctor, well, what is it, a boy or a girl? And he's going to say, well, you just got to wait till find out what it decides it is.
That's a good point. Don't point the walls pink or blue. You just sit there and you wait for the government to tell you.
Right. Well, and that's the whole dehumanization thing, because if they can take away mother, father, brother, son, daughter, then it's all, you're the legal guardian of this humanoid. I mean, it might not even be a person here eventually. They might rearrange.
And they're getting us ready for clones. They're getting us ready for chimeras. Right. This is just getting us ready for body augmentation. You see the newscast? Your kid will soon have a chip. I'm all for technology, but not like having a chip like my cell phone that tracks me. Anthony, let me ask you this question. When you talk to folks just on the ground in New York or Florida or wherever you're visiting folks, I mean, are they getting that this stuff's going on?
Yeah, but look at how all this stuff has been presented over the years. You're talking about putting chips in people and children, and it's always presented as a convenience and new technology to help you. Mm-hmm. No one ever goes, hey, the government wants you to go to this building and have a chip put in you. People would go, what, are you out of your mind? Yet we've been presented with our phones, which is literally a tracking system. It puts out to the world what we eat, when we sleep, where we go, our families, our friends, our political affiliation, all this stuff. If you told someone years ago that you would carry a device with all your information on it, pictures, all your preferences, you'd say, get out of here. I'm not going to do that. Mm-hmm. Well, it's always presented as a convenience. You need this, and we eat it up.
It's a doppelganger.
You have to be vigilant.
Wow, the way you put that, it's so true. It literally now, the new iPhones for a couple of years, tracks your heart rate, when you eat, where you go. I mean,
soon we won't be able to live without it. So, I mean,
they tell you after a little time goes by, and it's been this convenience that now you can't even leave the house without your phone. You lose your mind. So what they do then is say, well, do you realize this could be used, like you say, it tracks your health, maybe your heart rate, this, whatever other biometrics. Do you think that at some point won't be used to deny you insurance?
They're going to know you drank beer, you ate steak. Leanne, we're going to break. I'm going to come back and ask you both, but now, how do we counter this? I mean, I'm not going to the Alamo Drafthouse anywhere if they start opening locations where my daughters have to go into bathrooms with men and squat over urinals.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is so new, this whole transgender thing. It's really still, you know, in a state of confusion. And yet they are rearranging bathrooms. They're writing federal laws. Like, where is this going? Where is this going to end? I mean, we're just now witnessing the beginning of this.
They admit in the Pentagon documents, we've covered it 30 years ago, the globalists plan to make us asexual, where finally there's just no sex. You're not allowed, and we're going to drug you. THX1138, I see Anthony Cumia nodding his head. We're going to come back with himself and Leanne straight ahead. Then David Knight's coming up, and I shot a special report that is so important where Donald Trump destroys the New World Order. We're going to be airing that as well. All right, Anthony Cumia is our guest. Got to get him back up more often. Really had a lot of fun talking today. David Knight's coming up. They're going to air a special report I shot that's going viral all over the internet. Tea Party News has picked it up. A bunch of other huge sites. It's going to get tens of millions of views. Trump exposes globalist coup inside America. I want to change it to over America. Elite in full panic mode. We're going to air that report. It's about 7 minutes long the next hour when David Knight takes over. Also, we've got a lot of other big news. I should have got into TSA and 70,000 people missing the flights in the last year and how they're demanding more money from Congress and the border's open and they're letting jihadists in. So we'll talk some about that, but just finishing up, Leanne, you had one other point you were going to make to Anthony on the whole thing about women being forced to use urinals, and it's going to be weird, man. I already see it. You walk in, there's like women in the restroom. It's like, what's going on here?
Well, there's just a story that came out. A Saudi man shoots the doctor shortly after the doctor delivered his wife's baby because he didn't want a man to see his spouse naked. So, here you have people who are so terrified of having anyone see anything beyond a woman's eyes, and now you're going to force them to use all the bathrooms? I mean,
it's a mental illness. Saudi Arabia is completely mentally ill, and I'm bigoted for saying that. No, they're complete fruits. The Nazis were crazy. The Aztecs were nuts. People go crazy.
Yeah.
Why not admit Saudi Arabian people under this government are nuts? Anthony, I want to get some into the TSA. We're almost out of time, but we were getting into all this, and I forget the point before I went to break, but there's just so much going on. It's like crazy people are taking over.
Yeah, the TSA thing. I mean, not only are the lines ridiculous, everybody that goes to the airport realizes there's got to be a better way. And it's not working. I mean, there's something like a 98% failure rate when they test the TSA agents with explosives.
They've never caught one terrorist.
So it's not even working. We're all waiting on these lines, and it's a dog and pony show to make us feel good and feel safe. It's not working.
Well, I mean, in Europe, you go over there now, and it's mainly the jihadis that run in the security.
That whole, I don't know what kind of psychopath you'd have to be to fly out of De Gaulle Airport at this point. They have people on the airport's payroll that are jihadis. I don't understand. What, you don't want to offend people? You'd rather blow up at 37,000 feet than offend somebody because you're questioning.
I think that's it. This is the global takeover of wimps. I mean, a lot of this is just capitulation. It's like the Germans. You have seen the video where the jihadis on TV is the government minister over immigration, and they go, soon all you evil Germans will be gone, and the Germans clap.
They're clapping at their own extermination, which is ironic, but they are. I can't understand people that applaud and feel good about their culture, their history, their ancestry being erased. I don't get it.
Well, it's progressive and loving to hate yourself.
The truth is, I mean, I'm here to say it. I never used to bash the left. I mean, I didn't like them, but I was just more libertarian. These people are demons. I mean, and they're mentally ill, and it's like Gavin was saying, they have daddy issues. They just want to overthrow everything because they can't build anything. So they see the civilization, and they get scared by it, like, freedom, what do we do? Bring in the jihadis,
right.
Put beekeeper suits on the women.
Right, and they'll wait to collapse our society until they can disarm us.
Well, we're fighting back, and the world is waking up, and I just want to thank our guests for joining us. Closing comments, Anthony, it's great having you. Thanks for the time.
Well, when you look at what's happening, like at the Alamo Draft House, and what we've seen over the past 10 years with trying to squash people's freedom of expression and voicing their opinions, it's doing away with identity. They don't want us to have an identity. And traditional identities, a family, a man, a woman, the kids, is a bad word. you can't, that's looked at as something terrible. Meanwhile, when you look